Good morning, Samoa, and welcome to Star Trek TOS Season 1, Episode 4, or as the real fans know it, Episode 6. Fun fact, still to this day, every time I'm like sitting here just listening to the engine hums, in my head, that Star Trek Picard Season 3 episode, which is why I stumble. And even there, usually I can fix it in my head, but even there, I almost said Picard Season 3. God, who knows what's gonna happen when we actually get to Strange New Worlds. There's no subtitle. But anyway, everybody, it's the naked time. I hope everyone is fully naked, in celebration. I was gonna say as God intended, but actually he did, didn't he? So it's not really a joke. But yes, the naked time. One of the first episodes ever revisited, wouldn't it be, with the Next Generation's The Naked Now, but of course the Rathacon was first. I've just realized, for those of you new, oh shoot, I forgot to start recording. There you go. The people in the video missed me wishing everyone was naked. So if you're new to one of these, I mean, the instructions are on screen. Bring your own video. We're doing something a little different today to help keep the sync, but I'm still gonna have a little time bar on that black bar. But there's a link in the description to the episode if you have Paramount Plus, or like I just use a digital backup of the old Blu-rays that I have. But yeah, then I'll ramble a little bit while everyone gets set up. Yeah, one of the first episodes that was revisited, The Naked Now, and of course it's quite a fun one. It's a comedy one, so I'll probably won't be sitting here. I probably won't mention morality once this entire episode. I don't know, that's quite a promise to make. But when everyone's drunk, right? You know, that's the explanation. They can be immortal from a narrative perspective if they're drunk. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, we'll get to see just how much Strange New Worlds has kind of ruined watching Nurse Chapel in TOS. We'll kind of get a start of that. That's a bit harsh, but yeah, Strange New Worlds is interesting because it's a good series, but it's probably the worst in terms of ruining something from a previous episode. I got startled a bit because Captain Kirk just walked into the bridge. But yeah, I think Strange New Worlds ruins more than one episode per episode. And not necessarily like, you know, oh, you've totally broke canon, but like, hey, this exchange between like Uhura and Spock from a recent episode, it doesn't work anymore. I imagine a lot of Nurse Chapel doesn't work anymore. It's interesting. But an announcement before we get started. Well, first off, next week at this time, we'll go back to doing Strange New Worlds reviews for the new episodes. But another thing, there's now a playlist for these watch-alongs in release order, because my mom says you're allowed to be wrong. And there we go, the actual announcement. Paradox Interactive has announced a new Star Trek Grand Strategy game set at like the decade before the 24th century, which probably means you'd be playing through like the 24th century, which is where a lot of the exciting stuff happens, which is very interesting. My Steam library, let me open it, actually. Steam. Paradox Interactive they're basically the king of grand strategy games. They're really, really long strategy video games. But, my top 3 played Steam games are Terraria, 281 hours. That's a lie, because of how I play it, it often doesn't track. Factorio, 393 hours. Then Stellaris, 971 hours, like 3 times second place, which is a Paradox Interactive grand strategy game set in space. So that's something to keep an eye on. That will probably appear on my channel, along with Resurgence at some point. I don't know, that might be the gaming channel, that might be here. but I'll definitely give Resurgence a go at some point, because it looks like it's not a great name, but absolutely nails Star Trek in that TNG vibe, which is just what Star Trek Online does. But Star Trek Online is more game focused, which is why I kind of dropped off eventually. I still liked it, great story, but it'll be interesting. Anyways, I've rambled for far too long, probably. So let's get started with the episode. What we're gonna do is a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go countdown, and then we're all gonna start the episode. And you can watch. Here we go. I'll get the little timer up there. I really wish I could make that persist, but I have to move my mouse. And we're gonna do something a little special that you'll see. Boop, just let me prepare that. Where'd the nebula go? Where'd space go? Nobody knows. But yes, we'll do a start in a few seconds. Let me get a drink. And that was not enough drink. I shouldn't have had my vegan, not Oreo things before stream. Alright. I'm gonna do the countdown now. Get your fingers on the buttons. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Actually, wait, I'm sorry. We've got to do that again. Restart. You can't hear the engine streams, but I can hear my background engine noise because I muted it for you, but didn't turn the video on. I've just gotten so used to it. Okay, everyone's reset. There we go. I can't believe I did the full countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And oh, look at that. That blurry image that's hopefully blurry enough to avoid copyright. There we go. That should hopefully help people sync up. Or at least make you feel more confident that that you're at the right spot. Oh, I'm watching Remastered, by the way, so I can see a base there, but you can't. Well, if you're watching the original, you can. I don't know why I just assume you're watching the original. Aw, old spacesuit. Like, you know what? It's just clicked with me now. I don't know why, but those are probably based off the, like, old radiation suits. Like, they're even a bright primary color. That's what they are, aren't they? Like, totally not airtight, of course, but, it's interesting. That's my biggest problem with these suits, is that, like, why doesn't the neck bit tuck in, under the collar or something, so it at least looks airtight? Like, sure, it could be airtight underneath, but why have the extra flaps and stuff? That's not a woman, that's a mannequin. I can see that. It's very important that one man was taking a shower fully clothed as well in about 100 years. It's going to be really relevant, so make sure, Spock, to write that down in your log. And the histories of starships named Enterprise. I do really like those suits, is like a future-y science suit. Other than the fact they're airtight. And yes, he's just taken off his glove. Well, hey, it's not airtight. See, he just put his hand up there. Like, I don't get what it's supposed to be doing. Ooh. So, that's a cool shot, because I assume they've just tilted the camera and let something drip out, but that's what I like about these old 60s shows, when they do stuff like that that's just interesting and like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's not even like a cool for the time thing, or like it's kind of funny because it's outdated. I'm like, no, that's just cool. I don't know about that spot. Like, they were just drunk, for all intents and purposes. I mean, I guess you probably don't come across many colonies that, like, everyone got drunk and died, but still. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. No, I won't keep that up. I have to every time. It's like The Simpsons. It's the couch gag, you know? I gotta do something different. Bah, 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 bah. Bah, 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 bah. The best part is, according to YouTube, someone joined at the start of that, left, then someone else joined and left. So, you know, brilliant. Conditions highly unusual. Could you imagine if, like, everyone in, like, a city or some research or whatever, like, everyone died, and you're reading the, like, official report about it. It's just like, situation highly unusual. It's true, but it's also kind of just fun. Well, it's not a quick look. Oh, like, he's gonna meet him in sickbay. I'm like, dang, 10 minutes to decontaminate and get a checkup? I like how the guy has to hold the chair, because it doesn't lock in place at all. Oh, well, there we go. It does lock, but... I really hate that they have, like, Bones look after Spock. But there's not even a setting on the medical thing for Vulcan. Like, even if it wasn't standard, if I was Bones, the first thing I'd do is get, like, I'd get someone to program a Vulcan... I don't even know what to call that thing. I think this is Nurse Chapel's first appearance. I'm pretty sure. At least if you go production order, of course. But I don't think it matters. I can't say I've ever been drunk, but I think even if I was drunk, I can't see myself being so drunk that I just sit at my computer is the environment gets that cold. When isn't it in a critically tight orbit? If Kirk says the Enterprise has to be in a critically tight orbit, that means they're not in orbit. That means they're flying in the atmosphere. Just flying, full stop. Kirk's idea of a close orbit is driving your car on the surface of the planet. That's a close orbit. A change in mass. The 60s. Then again, when did Doctor Who's Kill the Moon come out? Like, people still can't seem to get that little fact down. Oh, is this the first food replicator? It even farted on the food a little bit. How courteous. What do we think? Food or Jello cubes? I'm going Jello cubes. Rainbow, of course. Mostly green. What an interesting conversation. I wonder if it's going to become relevant later. It's interesting. I don't really have a problem. Well, I don't have any problem with like Sulu's interest in like swords, but I do have problems with his interest in firearms. But I think he might have just explained why a bit. Also, food's not mostly green, but there's no blue, so I'll take it. Actually, is that... It's like a mix of Jello cubes and normal food. It's the most threatening butter knife I've ever seen. They're just playing checkers. Like, huh, that's a little interesting. I wonder what they're up to. Do you think we should help? No, I'm about to get a checkmate. My god, he's a Klingon. He has nothing on his hands, which makes that scene look ridiculous. I love it. 10 out of 10. Can't wait for shirtless Sulu. That's why we're all here, isn't it? Fully naked, as we've established. The way the planet's shrinking in mass. I can't wait to see what the heck happens to this planet. I love TOS orbits because to me, you know when a car does like a donut or something or like a huge drift, That's what Sulu does around planets, because he's going way too fast, kind of sideways. And in my head, every time I see those shots, it's like, just, the Sulu massively just handbrake turning around a planet. Tokyo drifting his way through the cosmos. Doctor, why do you have the rainbow lights for different tools? They're very important, Chapel. You'll learn this one day when you're chief medical officer. Without the pink lights, he would die. I really wish TOS ever tried to give any indication of what those dials, meant. I get green is good, but we just saw him go from the high red to the low red. And it's always I don't really know what it's supposed to say. And if you read them, they're nonsense, of course, but, I don't know. You get the point, but it would have been nice, kind of like by the end of Voyager, you have a real good sense of how the universe works. Just because you've been there for, 21 seasons. I'm pretty sure he's about to die. But, if they're really high, is that better or worse? I don't know. Doctor, have you tried the green light? Don't be ridiculous, Chapel. He's got no blood, according to those readings. Those two on the right were blood. Well, I guess he was bleeding, but not that much. That makes sense. Well, that doesn't make sense, but the planet is losing mass, so it does make sense if you accept that nonsensical thing as fact. Oh, hi, Comet. Hi, are you home? Good boy. Alex just got home with the dog. Hi, Comet. Oh my goodness, Comet.
You can take his diaper off.
You're just in time for Sulu. Oh no, how's he gonna hand Tokyo drift around the planet if he's not at the controls? Oh boy, Comet.
Will this make a noise on your stream?
It's fine. I can't exactly pause.
I'll leave it on him for now because he doesn't seem to mind it.
No, he's good.
So, yeah. I'm going to try to quietly bring my stuff inside.
Okay. Do you want to join for the tail end of Naked Time?
I've got to bring my stuff inside.
Okay. We're doing everything as possible. Hey, a flubbed line in Star Trek. Amazing. It was really subtle. I don't think I've ever noticed it, but... More importantly, why didn't the other guy report it? Calm?
I have to go the long way. The garage door opener is no longer there.
It's across on the little ledge thing by the stairs.
I'm just gonna use the front door.
What? I've stopped listening for a few seconds and suddenly we're talking about universal suffrage. I did say we weren't going to talk about morality, but I guess if I miss it, sure. This episode's it takes a lot longer to get going than I remember. Which is kind of on par for the 60s, but I imagine you could probably pretty easily fill an hour with drunken shenanigans if you wanted to. Fair enough. I was gonna point out that Strange New Worlds Chapel probably would have slapped that guy in the face, but True. No, you know what? He's absolutely right there. It is a shame. As a non-Irishman myself, it's a hard pill to swallow, but he's right. He's absolutely right. Like, oh, there we go. Hey, it's that scene. Fun fact. Somehow, God knows how, George Takei forgot about this, which is absolutely astounding. In Voyager, when they did the, episode where they went back into, like, Tuvok's mind, what's it called? Flashback? I don't remember what it's called, but Tim Russ, of course, huge Star Trek fan, Tuvok, talked with George Takei a lot, and he brought up this scene, and George Takei was like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't remember that time. I ran around the Enterprise shirtless, threatening to stab people. How do you forget this? Like, even if he forgot it, how do people not constantly bring it up? It's amazing. It's like the Sulu moment. Well, that's about to change. Is it? Well, the pattern is obvious, isn't it? Next up, you get people writing Shakespeare. In French is a comedy. Ooh. At the same time, though, that's kind of on Kirk for grabbing the sword from the pointy end. Good line. Was that the first Vulcan neck pinch? Hey, it was. If I didn't know about the Vulcan neck pinch, though, that would be absolutely crazy. Like, I'd be so confused what happened. Do they have cooks? Because we've just established the replicators this episode. Otherwise, I'd probably let it pass. It's just stupidly fast. I get there's no way you could actually, like, show that they're going, like, way too fast and spiraling down, because orbits, they just don't look that fast. But still, that's remastered as well. Like, they knew better when they made that. I feel like this scenario might have been inspiration for the Jeffrey tubes. after this, they just like, yeah, we need other little Jeffrey tubes into the engineering room. Wait, did Riley actually, like, go into the engine room, turn to Mr. Scott, and be like, you and all your engineering crew are relieved? Dictator. Rules with an iron fist. God, I hope the Enterprise actually has a bowling alley. That's actually, this is why I was about to bring up, could you imagine having a bowling alley in a ship that does this? Like, everyone's bowling, and then suddenly all the bowling balls fly into the air and shoot in some random direction? Like, good lord. Jim, I've got 50 patients from the bowling alley on the way after that big jerk. Could you beam someone into engineering? I did say we weren't going to talk about morality because he's drunk. My favorite part of this set, the little Jeffries tube, is how many things just don't connect to the wall because it's a curved surface and that's hard. It's my favorite thing. That's what I always remember about this set. I wonder what Enterprise did, cause or maybe Deep Space Nine even, because both of them have scenes with that Jeffries tube. Did he just say jumpers? Sure, why not? is Spock using like a, what are they called? Like an astrological compass to calculate their orbit? The 60s, when they just didn't understand what a computer could theoretically do. It's such a different mindset, I feel. Like, when you watch old stuff from the 60s, the computers are more advanced, of course, but they're still very much like their modern technology. And I feel like the only times you get something totally crazy are like, you know, it's basically like God or Apollo or something crazy, or Trelane, Q levels. But when we do it, or even like the 80s, like later stuff, it's like, yeah, holograms, they just work. We have nothing, or like we had nothing like a hologram. But they're like, yeah, you know, I bet somehow you could probably do it, or like, you know, even if you can't, like Impulse. We don't have anything like Impulse. It's like a nonsense magic technology, but you know, it just works there. Shields, like there's, I mean, shields are in the 60s, but it's always so interesting to me. Like, something looks like it kind of happened in the 60s, 70s to kind of make that change.
I'm taking a break.
Yes, Alex. I could try and hook up some headphones.
I'm good.
Alex is joining us for this stream. They're just not joining you.
I was dog sitting and I just got back, so I'm unpacking. And it's a little toasty.
Oh, that the other thing where like the 60s will kind of do weird stuff is it's kind of a lot of the pseudoscience that was in the 60s, like ESP is in, you know, the first episode, or like
Hashtag
latent psychic abilities.
technobabble.
Well, we're back then, like we could, like there could have been psychics and we just hadn't really totally proven it false yet, you know. Have you just been introduced to the term technobabble?
No.
Okay.
I just saw that
Hello.
like, thing pop up.
Best of Trek, worst of Trek. Welcome to the party. I'm afraid you've missed Sulu running around, but don't worry, he's still shirtless.
Remember, kids, wash your hands.
But not with the alcohol water stuff, because I think the sickness in this episode is just like water, but different water. It's okay.
Well,
Look
like,
at this
she
Tokyo
started
drift.
reacting after touching Sue, which is why I was like, remember, kids, wash your hands. Especially after touching sick people.
I thought he was throwing her down in the captain's chair. Just like, you're the captain now, yeoman. All right, here's to do some What Did Strange New Worlds Do? Do you remember this stuff between Chapel and Spock? I say between. It was more one directional. But here we go. Here's the What Is Strange New Worlds Done? See.
You know, Spock's just like, be gone, thought.
Oh, people would say that.
Man, the wig on that chick sucks.
Poor Chapel. She's played a lot of characters in Star Trek. She's the voice of the computer.
I know, it's just that particular wig does not look good. It's very obviously a wig.
I mean, I guess Strange New Worlds kind of maybe adds a bit to this, because it actually sets the context that, like, Spock knows this. This isn't news to him. And also, Chapel is drunk in this scene, so she's bound to be a little bit different.
Dubious consent. I forgot the plot of this episode, but...
Well, yeah, they're both drunk, like, for all intents and purposes.
Dubious consent.
They don't call it the naked time for nothing.
Naked.
You know, actually, I will say, Strange New Worlds probably does add some context to that scene. Like, especially if you've been watching Ethan Peck Spock, I sure as hell wouldn't believe that Spock can control his emotions. It's the worst wig she ever gets. Oh, this is a word I've never actually said. Majel only shows her real one once in Trek. Which one is that? I'm actually curious. Because Roxana had a lot of rigs.
Like, this is the first time I've noticed Star Trek having an obvious wig. Like, usually their costume design is pretty good. This is the first time I've ever noticed that it's a wig and not, like, actual hair.
I'd bet it's Una probably had the real hair. But
And they just have, like, ribbons super glued on their uniforms at this point.
I've said before, I think making Chapel, well, first, having Chapel is the real problem. Like, but having Chapel in Strange New Worlds and making her much more kind of empowered and a stronger character is a mistake in that it makes the fact that this Chapel came later, it kind of makes everything about her worse to me. That, like, somehow the woman we saw in Strange New Worlds devolved into this.
Waxana and Udo.
And Odo and the Turbo Lift. Oh, that was her real hair. I did wonder. Interesting. But,
What do you have? What do you have?
Yeah, like, if it was anyone other than Chapel, it worked great. But it to me, it kind of makes it look like Chapel's love for Spock turned her from, like, an actual capable human being to what we see in TOS. And it's just, like... I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't have been Chapel. I've said this before. The overwhelming
she just got
majority.
Old and senile, you know, like all women do at the prime age of 28.
Well, that's the point. Like, I saw a poster of you know, the Stranger Worlds cast recently, and 6 of the 8 people were recurring characters. Admittedly, Mbanga didn't
like
have
Spock's
much in
dad,
TOS.
who originally showed up as a Romulan, and I made the joke, and you're like,
Well,
that
no.
is actually Spock's dad's actor.
They're recasts, but they're actually the characters from TOS. And, like, that's gonna hurt Stranger Worlds for as long as they do it. Because Pike's, like, the only one they've actually really done something new with. The others, they've added backstory that wasn't there or just changed them, and it's gonna hurt it.
I got a baby for you.
Oh, I don't know. Boop.
No, you stay.
Spock's having a breakdown, Comet.
You stay.
You want to watch Spock have an emotional breakdown? Like it was
Stay and stop getting
2009?
incense.
That's right. Actually, I've just realized, this is kind of really early establishing that Spock does have emotions. And, like, more broadly, I suppose Vulcans do. They just suppress them and control them.
Like autistics.
I love that. That's going to be a video one day, but it's such a big video. I love how Vulcans are so accidentally autism. Not just in, like, how they are in the show, but also how people perceive
See, he's
Vulcans.
having a meltdown. That's how I feel after a day at work. Relatable. Hashtag relatable.
Well, it's amazing. Every level of Spock's, every different meta level, from no matter how, like, much you know about Star Trek works, is like an autism analogy, and it's entirely accidental because it wasn't even discovered till like decades after TOS.
Much like all autism diagnoses, these are accidental. You never meant to be autistic. Uh-oh, accidental autism.
I think this is the day Scotty learned to double all of his time estimates. Because so suddenly he actually has to have 30 minutes and he's screwed.
Oh, I was playing rough all week, finally caught up.
What does that even mean, you can't mix matter and antimatter cold? Like, it'll explode.
Regardless, will warming it up make a difference? Do you have to boil
I think
one up?
maybe he means that, like, however they harness the power has to warm up. Like, it has to turn on and actually get ready. Like, if you didn't warm it up, it'd just explode and you wouldn't harness it.
Sorry I'm late, but I wanted to stop. Dude, I'm late too. You can be as late as you want and
Hello,
still stop
Dal.
by. I'm not even wearing headphones. I'm not even listening to it, so I'm just watching it visually, and she's putting an ice cube on herself. So, like, you can come in the middle and just start commenting, even if you don't, like, actually, like,
I knew I should have gotten headphones plugged in while they were unpacking.
Oh, look, it's me after touching microfiber.
It's what?
Me after touching microfiber things.
Oh. Aww.
No kitty. No kitty in here. No.
Was she supposed to be dead in this scene? I do kind of wonder, but yeah. Uh-oh. No white after Labor Day. Remember, we're all naked in celebration of the naked time. It's the rules. It says so in the title. So if you are white, I guess that's a problem, actually, thinking about it.
You aren't wearing white if you are white.
Well, because no white after Labor Day, and since we're all naked for the naked time,
Technically, we're peach.
if you are white, then it's a problem. When does that stop, though? It's like the gremlins. Like, when can you feed the gremlins?
Sunrise. I guess the whole no white after... I think it's the day after Labor Day you can't wear white. That blood is not the right color. It's too pink.
That's real... That looks fine.
It's too pink.
It's much... Well, you should have seen the first guy that got stabbed with a butter knife.
I'd rather not. Oh, it's me after touching what food on dishes.
Have you noticed the beautiful woman? You know, the one that I raped a few episodes ago? That one. She might have slipped you by.
I've just come to make pithy comments? What are pithy comments?
I don't know. But I'm waiting to hear about this intermix formula. Sure.
What?
I don't know enough about advanced theoretical physicists to comment on a link between time and antimatter. Like, yeah, antimatter has mass, so I guess it's linked to time. But I was expecting him to say something that's not 1-to-1, which would be crazy. Well, unless you had more matter. I don't know. I'm not an engineer.
Poor Rand?
That's the, yeoman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it short for random?
No, it's just Rand. It's Janice Rand. I think she makes captain one day, because anyone who served on the Enterprise makes captain. How does that work? How do you go from yeoman to captain? Was there a day where, like, everyone on the bridge like was knocked unconscious. She happened to be there and like saved the day. Like that's a career shift. Assignment Earth. Oh, like the slingshot maneuver thing, or yeah, that's right, because they actually discovered time travel in TOS, don't they? I always forget about that.
They do? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they discover it, and they like then they actually start using it. Like they'll use time travel to study the past, and then they just stop doing it after this decade. Unless you're Picard.
Look, his shirt's back on.
And if you're Picard, you're gonna remember about it one day to make season 2 of Picard. Hey, there we go. Kirk's like, I know how you like your shots. No, sorry, Bones.
Just ripped his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wonder about the quality of the
when
Bones'
they're
shirt
alone in sick
shiny.
bay, he rips the crotch part of the pants and just injects right in.
Nope.
That's how Kirk wants all his shots.
I want to know what material, because they obviously had to make it out of a different material than usual to make it so, like, rippable.
I mean, I'm sure the film industry knew how to make clothes that ripped as they wanted. Or, like, the stripper industry as well.
They just undid the seams, so there must have just been, like, one singular, like, little clasp holding them together. Because, like, that's right along the seam line.
Mm-hmm. Direction, it doesn't matter. Alright, Captain, I am aiming at the core of the planet. Ramming speed. I don't know where I picked that up, as I'll often shout is like a comical, like, ramming speed, Mr. Sulu. It's like, beam me up, Scotty. It doesn't come from anywhere.
Why is Bones' shirt so shiny?
Lighting. Actually, it might be a different material.
No, it looks like a different material. Like, you can tell Kirk's is kind of funny.
Kirk's shirt might be a different material.
And hers is kind of fuzzy, too. Like, hers looks more like,
I don't know. Maybe it was an early version of the uniform, or it's like a doctor's uniform. Like, maybe they have slightly different ones.
Like, they have scrubs.
Maybe Bones, like, was allergic to the stuff. I don't know.
Well, he's also wearing a short sleeve uniform rather than a long sleeve one.
I think
it's a noticeably shinier fabric.
Oh, no, it's a different shirt. Look at the neck.
I know, I told you.
It's short sleeve. Yeah, no, that's just a different shirt. I'm wearing noise-canceling headphones, so, like, I can barely hear.
I can yell louder.
Just don't go in the red.
Oh, don't tempt me. I'll do it. You shouldn't have told me that was an option.
Oh, what's this effect? This is nice. This is... God, I wonder what this was in the original.
Probably just
There's, like, two static background... What is... Is that the planet that imploded? I might actually have to check that. You want to... No, I have it on Blu-ray. It's too much effort to get a Blu-ray going. I don't have the originals backed up, because that's way too much space. Star Trek and Doctor Who take up a lot of space. Hey, did they discover time travel? This is the episode. Good lord, the Federation discovered time travel by getting drunk. That's amazing.
Awesome. That would be how humans discover time travel.
Someone put that in the United Federation of Hold My Beer. Like, that's a...
United Federation of Hold My Beer?
I think I've told you this theory before. Give it a Google if you don't know, because it's quite long, but it's a good one.
I'll take your word for it. For a new...
So I wonder if this was going to be a bigger thing then, because, like, episode 4 from a filming production, you discover time travel. So I wonder if they were supposed to do that more often, but maybe they switched it for, like, the parallel Earth idea, so that you could do whatever you... Like, you don't have to be bound by history. You could have aliens or, like, the world end or whatever.
You don't have to be bound by history is a badass, like, self-motivational, there's the dog quote. No. Got it.
Boom, 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 boom. There's not really a series that does it. Like, you need something shortly after TOS. Or maybe you could even have, like, if you have an Enterprise C era show that a lot of people want. But I'd love an episode that actually, like, makes this illegal. Basically. Because, obviously, they don't time travel, like, in TNG onward. At least not, like, to just go study the past or whatever. So I'd kind of like an episode that dealt with this, where they do kind of go in time travel, but something goes horribly wrong, or like basically they invent the temporal prime directive or something, and it's a good thing for an episode, and it just helped make things a bit more cohesive. I'd like it. Like a lot of what Enterprise did, or at least kind of tried to do, where we know what happened to like get the prime directive and all these things, but you know, just kind of make it, just let us see it. You know, that's a fun thing.
Prime directives that nobody follows.
What?
Nobody follows the prime directive in any show we watch.
They do sometimes. Like when planets, everyone on, like a whole planet's gonna explode, they'll follow it. They do follow it though. That's like
they follow it at their own convenience.
It's more like the prime guideline.
The prime... If you're on the Enterprise, you can get away with not following this.
It's the prime guideline.
It's the prime exception.
The prime suggestion.
It's the prime please listen.
But no, they follow it, like, a good amount, but...
Name the last time Kirk followed the prime directive.
Kirk? Oh god, the problem is I'd have to think a lot about TO. I think I still have this open. Hang on a sec. Mantrap, Charlie... Balance of Terror? No, well, I mean, not really. Little Girls, Miri, Galileo, Corp, no. The Menagerie, he didn't want to go to, Talos 4 because it was illegal? I guess that's not really the prime directive. No, hang on.
Yeah, I didn't ask for the last
no,
time.
No, hang on. Tomorrow is yesterday. But tomorrow is yesterday, the temporal prime directive, where that guy from the past saw the Enterprise, and they didn't want to send him back because he'd seen the Enterprise. There we go. Does the temporal prime directive count?
Didn't you just say there wasn't a temporal prime directive?
It has and hasn't been invented. It's been invented in the future, which means, but we know about. I don't know, but they followed it.
No, we're talking about the prime directive, not the
Taste
temporal.
Chat. Spacey and Side of Paradise. Devil in the Dark. What actually is the prime directive? We shall not interfere in the internal affairs of alien species or influence their development. That's the prime City on the Edge. That's temporal prime directive. Damn it. Operation Annihilate. Hang on, season 2. Friday's trial. No, what? The problem is they don't seem to give a shit about the prime directive in TOS. I don't know if it was invented or like.
They've mentioned the prime directive, I'm pretty sure.
I wonder, it might be interesting to consider.
Planet.
I'd also have to look in history where I don't know so much about the 60s, but not too long before, there'd be a much larger gap between like the developed Western countries and places that are still colonies. And there'd kind of be a much bigger technological gap or just like development gap that could kind of be analogous to like the Federation and then pre-warp civilizations. And so you kind of had, if it makes sense, you kind of had more intermingling between like a technology gap, and maybe that kind of affects how they view a prime directive.
General Order 1 in TOS.
Yeah, it's another word for the prime directive. Hang on, no, we'll get there. The apple? No, that's not that one. Tribbles.
Stop
Bread and circuses. I don't think they really do anything in that one. Tricks. A piece of the no, actually, they literally like took over the planet in a piece of the action. That's an awful. Look, I'm sure they do it.
S&W about the changing the name of General Order to Prime Directive. Pico laughs it off, saying no one will switch terms.
Oh yeah, I remember that joke. I mean, they still say General Order 1 in some of the later seasons. Assignment Earth, that's temporal. Well, no, Assignment Earth is kind of weird because he thinks Gary Seven's an alien and he tries, but like the Paradise Syndrome. There we go. Bam! The Paradise Syndrome, the super racist Native American one, is Prime Directive.
What happened in that episode?
Kurt goes to a planet where Native Americans live, don't worry about it, and he loses his memory and basically lives with them. And the Enterprise, meanwhile, is trying to divert an asteroid, but they can't reveal themselves to the Native Americans because of the Prime Directive. And it's actually like a big like conflict in the episode is that the Prime...
Doesn't Kirk...
Well, Kirk lost his memory. He tries to, but then
doesn't he reveal himself anyways?
Well, only after he lost his memory and then lived with them because he didn't know about the Prime Directive, and at that point it was like...
dubious.
But they still really tried to limit. Like, damn, there you go. The really racist one. This was the one that they did the Prime Directive in. I knew I'd find
What about after that? When's the next time Kirk
There's only so many episodes, Alex. The Empath? The Empath. They can't interfere, and they have to let those, like, weird scientist guys run their experiment and let the Empath die, I'm pretty sure. They see season 3, they figure out how the and people say it's not a good one. I actually quite like it. There's a lot of good episodes in season 3. And a lot of the ones I'm, like, look forward to when I start TOS are in season 3. I think it's a very underrated season.
Hey Nathan.
Huh?
They can't hear Itachi barking.
Oh, I'm sure they can. Yep. See. Plato's Stepchildren might have been some Prime Directive
Private
stuff.
Little War.
Yeah, I don't remember that one too much though.
Was that the one with the kids?
It was Klingons, but is that the one where is it like the Organians? I think that's Star Wars. Organians.
I'm gonna go get
Itachi. But is that the one where like it's basically a non-corporeal godlike race, but they look like they're in medieval times? Because I know it's a Klingon one, but I always get them confused. Which means when Korra, Kang, and Koleth show up in Deep Space Nine, I have to Google which one was which. Koleth was the Tribble one. I can remember that at least. I think Kang was the one where they're on the Enterprise and, like, some godlike being is just trying to make them angry with each other, and Core is everything else. I think that's how it works, which is why Core is kind of like the main Klingon. Season 1, Klingons arming a planet. Yeah, Organians are also in... Oh, that's not... God dang it. Hang on.
Organians.
Where's Leia from? It's Organa
Leia?
or something? I don't remember. Hang on. Star Trek. Oh, my keyboard's up here because my mic is in the way. Star Trek.
Did I get the cute little Google banner today?
Yeah, it's pastries.
Gay pastries.
It took a while, but apparently this is the day that afternoon tea time was introduced in England, and I haven't the foggiest idea how you can nail that down to a day. Trek a pri... Oh, is that... Is that the one with, like, the baby, like, Jim Kirk guy? Oh, that's the depressing one. Yeah, that's the one where they kind of just show up and they make a... They, like, start war in paradise and it's just depressing. It's a weird one, that one. It's season 2, episode 19, which is probably a release order. But, yeah, that's kind of the one episode of TOS, so I'm like, well, that's just kind of, like, depressing. And then it ends. There's not really even, like, a moral. I don't know if it's trying to say something about humanity, but it's just kind of like, oh, that's... And then, of course, the one that's, like, about COVID-19 is depressing, but that's kind of not its fault. That happened later. Do you remember that?
I will summarize all of Star Trek in, like, a sentence.
This should be
Humanity
interesting.
is curious and awful.
Oh, you're gonna love Quark's speech. What's it? Let me tell you something about humanity, Nog. Humans are lovely, kind, generous people when there's food in their bellies and their warm, cozy houses. But take away their food, their warmth, their little pleasantries of life, and they can be just as savage and brutal as any race. I think is a little. AR one more. God, who can't wait till like 20 years from now when we get to Deep Space Nine?
Where's a pillow? I need to hit you.
Speaking of depressing episodes, but that one's got a point, and that one leads into a pale moonlight. What? That's basically what you said. Like, what?
You said in 20 years when we get to Deep Space.
No, that's me and them.
Oh!
We better get there before 20 years. Like,
That's why I was hitting you.
look, we got summer. Like, you're not gonna work. I'm gonna make you watch Star Trek, but
Nathan's going to duct tape me to the couch. And
20
just peel
years
my
is
eye
like
open.
the third Doctor. You know, that's what 20 years from now is. But in 20 years for you, Doctor Who will enter color. We'll be on like the 20th Doctor. It'll be great. Nice. But yeah, next week we'll be doing Strange New Worlds reviews again, and that'll be nice. Let's see.
You have to
anything else?
resend me on Discord what you want for the thumbnail for that.
Just scroll up, Alex.
No, I'm
That-
lazy.
Search for "this is text." When I sent Alex all the like photos and links, because I knew they would ask this, because they ask this every time, even if it's only been like 2 days. I specifically sent "this is text" so that they could go into Discord and search for "this is text" and find all the references and images. They've only got like a week. I need this thumbnail, Alex. Just search for "this is text." It's there. And I've gotta update them as well. We'll get into Strange New Worlds. Yeah, one of the episodes, episode 5, I think, I'm gonna have to reschedule because I got a wedding and a convention.
You should be nice to me. I'm doing your thumbnails for free.
I could take all that housing deposit out of the savings account if you want.
You want a house too? You're not gonna do that. Checkmate, motherfucker.
You said you needed some money for the summer when the school's not in session. Like, yeah. No, Alex is very nice to make all the thumbnail art free of charge.
Well, Nathan is putting most money towards
Yes.
his down payment for our house. I'm gonna plug my commission work on the
Yeah,
side.
go ahead. Real quick, there's a link to, I think, their YouTube channel in the description of like every video that uses one of their thumbnails.
So there should be on my YouTube somewhere, even if you just like
Yeah.
look for a video advertising my commissions because I made a specific video for it. If you're interested in commissions from me, something like Nathan's like little thumbnail thing.
Well, probably better because they don't. This is actually a good one, but you tend to do better when someone actually pays you.
Yeah. That would be like around $15 with more effort put.
You should send me your commission link and I'll put it.
Yeah, I'll send Nathan the commission link so you can put it in the description. But yeah, if y'all are interested in,
It is.
I can do the even though I have yet to watch the Lower Decks series, I can do the Lower Decks style.
It is. It is season. It is in this description, right? Like, it should be. I'll double check after this, but I think it's in this description. Let me.
But yes,
Yeah,
I will get Nathan a link. That way, if any of y'all want art for the small exchange of currency to me, I'll do it. And I get commissions when I'm paid for them done fairly fast.
Yep. And we'll get a house.
And we'll get a house sooner so that
Yep.
Nathan will actually have a
You won't
recording
have to
run.
listen to dogs. I'll have more money. I can like buy a mic that replaces the hum. I can get rid of the hum.
Nathan
more
said
videos probably.
when we get a house, I can get another dog.
It'll be great. You'll finally probably get some payoff to the joke about not having a proper table. I already know don't worry. because I don't want you all to die. As we established, everyone would die if I got a proper table. I'm trying to figure out, ways. I've got ways to get around it.
We have a table. We're just using it as a desk.
This isn't a proper table. It's a fold-out, filthy, garbage poo-poo table.
Me and Andy got it for $60 at Walmart.
This is not it's a proper table. That thing I use right now, it's proper, but it's not a table. Like, don't worry. I'm not. No one's gonna die. I'm not gonna get a proper
house.
table.
If it has an island, we're probably like an island in the kitchen. We're probably not gonna buy a dining table until we have kids.
Well, my audience would thank you because everyone would die. I don't know if you've seen that video yet, but that's why.
Myself don't eat at a table unless like that's where my desk setup is.
So the point is, don't buy commissions from Alex, because otherwise we might get a table and everyone would die.
Buy commissions from Alex, because then Nathan will have a recording space where
if you don't, we'll buy a proper table. Bam.
If you don't, I will buy a proper table.
Yeah, checkmate. Alex will come home one day and be like, "No," and everyone will die. It's true.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
But yeah. Oh, not next week. Technically next week, but Tuesday. Now that I've said it, I've got to commit. Dang it. Something a bit different is a video. Let me know what you think. We're gonna be going over bad Star Trek articles, basically. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
New version of the image you currently have for these little live watches, aren't you? Because you're
yes, but I'm not gonna do one for at least 10 more weeks. So
yeah,
it's
but
fine.
I could get them both done at the same time. Is what I was thinking.
I mean, yeah, I think I just want this, but different hair. Well, no, I want this consistency because it's season 1, and that's why they're the same. But we can talk about that later.
It won't look exactly the same, but it will look very
similar. We can
similar.
talk about that later. But yeah, I think then, thanks for watching, and I'll see